Good day children. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is traveling with grandfather's zoo. Children, I would expect that you all have the experience of long distance travel. So when we travel, we carry all the necessary things. Sometimes we carry storybooks to spend our ideal time in train, or sometimes, especially nowadays, we watch movies or listen to the music through mobile while traveling. So in this story, we will see that the narrator, along with his grandfather and grandmother, was traveling from Dera to Lucknow to his aunt's place, and they were carrying their pets. Who are they? A squirrel whose name is Chips, a parrot whose name is Popeye, a teenaged tiger whose name is Timothy, and a python. So this story is written by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is one of the most famous Indian author, and he is famous for writing the story for the children. He received Sahitya Academy and Padma Bhushan. So let us explain the story. In the first paragraph, we will see grandmother's pet parrot Popeye was shouting, and as all the family members were boarding the Lucknow Express. Where they are going? They were going from Dera to Lucknow to their aunt's place. And grandfather and the narrator had also taken their pets. Who are they? They are a teenage tiger who is the pet of grandfather, a small squirrel who is the pet of the narrator, and they did not want to take, actually they wanted to leave the python at their home. In the second paragraph, we will see that they carried all these creatures along with them, as trains in India were not very crowded in those days. So it was very easy for them to carry. They travelled in first class compartment. Timothy took an entire berth for himself and behaved well with everyone. So everyone appreciated him. Even the guard was very satisfied. He also admitted because of them there was no shouting at coolies, no breaking of railway property, no spitting on the platform. In the next paragraph, we will see that the journey was very smooth and exciting for everyone. The parrot was looking at the vendors. People started poking their hands through the windows. He bit two fingers and pulled a ticket inspector's ear also. But when rain started, Chips, means the narrator's squirrel, came out from his pocket to see his surroundings, and he started running along the corridor. He was out of the compartment door before the narrator made it stop. Chips actually found that this train was a squirrel's paradise. Why, you know? Because all the passengers had brought large quantities of roasted peanuts before the train left the platform, and the squirrel Chips easily made a good friendship with both the children and the grown-ups people. So that is why he was very much excited and he was very much happy. And before he returned to the compartment, his tummy almost was full with different food. In the meantime, grandmother was feeling very sleepy because the day was very tiring, and that is why she was feeling very sleepy. And she covered herself with a blanket and she stretched out on the berth which is just opposite to Timothy. But grandfather was very much anxious to know whether she had food or not. In reply, she said that she had some soup before they left the house, and she also ordered them to take the food on time, which is given. The food was actually kept in the tiffin basket. After that, grandmother slept, and Poppy, means her parrot, started nodding. In the meantime, the narrator was feeling very hungry, and the narrator wanted to know what his granny made for him. Then he found that ham sandwiches, boiled eggs, roast chicken, gooseberry pie, etc. And he knew it very well that the tiffin box was under the berth. And as he was feeling very much hungry, at last he dragged, means he took it out from the berth, and he was trying to open it. And when he opened it, at that time he was very much surprised. Why? Because in the basket he found grandfather's pet python, but it was not supposed to be there. But that is why the narrator was very much surprised, and he saw that it was lying on the remains of their dinner. Grandmother, actually, why he was surprised? That is a good question. Because before starting the journey, grandmother had already insisted them to leave the python behind, and according to this, grandfather had already allowed it loose in the garden. But somehow the python managed to get inside the tiffin basket. Grandfather saw his grandson, means the narrator, and was asking that, what are you staring at? Means what are you finding? What are you looking at? Then he replied that it is the python, and it had already finished all the dinner. After that, grandfather joined with the narrator, and they looked down what is left, means at what remained of the food. They found that all the food had been eaten by the python. Pythons do not chew, they swallow. So python had already have all the food. Only few apples remained, but as the python did not care for apples, so that is why only few apples remained. After that, grandfather snapped the basket shut, means grandfather closed the basket and pushed it and kept it beneath the berth. And the narrator said that they should not tell all these things to his grandmother. Why? Because she might think that they brought the python along on purpose. That is why they did not want to reveal all these things to their grandmother. But he was feeling very much hungry, and he complained that, well, I am very hungry. Because it is very true. We know that as he was hungry, that is why he wanted to open. That is why he opened the tiffin basket, and then he saw all these things. In the meantime, Chips, means his squirrel, returned and brought some peanut for him. He was very much delighted after getting the peanuts, and he thought that it might help him to survive until morning. So after that, the narrator was also feeling very, very sleepy, and then he also took his own berth and he has gone to sleep. We don't know what would happen after that. So in our next video, in our next class, I will explain the rest of the things. I would expect that you all have understood up to this. And here we have got some interesting things, that the narrator along with his grandfather and grandmother boarded the Lucknow Express. They were going to their aunt's place, and they were carrying their pet, and we have seen some interesting things in the first 3 pages. In our next class, I will explain the rest of the paragraphs. Thank you so much.